It was a convergence of stakeholders on Lagos for the 44th Annual Conference of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, Icsan, where issues concerning entrenchment of good corporate governance at both the public and private sector were examined.
We have over the years churned out numerous guidelines and recommendations on how governance principles can be creatively employed to find solutions to our contemporary problems and challenges. Therefore, today's event constitutes another viable platform for the Institute to discharge one of our objectives, which is contributing to the development of the society by opening a vista of strategic deliberation and discourse aimed at expanding the frontiers of knowledge. And it is based on this that we have come up with the theme for today's conference, which is entrenching the right governance framework for economic development and sustainability. And finally, concerning our prospects for the coming year, I can assure you that the Institute will strive to surpass all our achievements in 2020 in the year 2021. Because in spite of the pernicious onslaught of the COVID-19 pandemic on socio-economic activities in this year, we were able to weather the storm to successfully hold most of our programs. And this is no doubt thanks to the undoubted courage and proactive creativity of the Governing Council of our institutes, ably led by Mr. Bode Ayeku, FCIS. This is what inspired the confidence that 2021 will even be a better year for the institute.
The nation's economy is undeniably challenged on many fronts, with many concerned stakeholders already being apprehensive that we might enter into another recession. Not only has our socio-economic enterprises suffered its fair share of the debilitating effect of COVID-19 pandemic, the locally brewed NSAS protest, which began as a peaceful protest but later snowballed into violence when hijacked by hoodlums, has aggravated the problem with the destruction of valuable assets and infrastructure worth trillions of naira. At the moment, we are experiencing shrinking of socio-economic enterprises, rising inflation, falling in the value of money, low capacity utilization in the risk sector, retrenchment, etc. All these are aggravating our already very challenging rate of unemployment and the negative economic indices affecting national growth. Therefore, this year's conference has ably brought to the front burner the imperative of creatively exploring all avenues for finding solutions to the nation's socio-economic regression through the right governance framework. At least, we all know that the purpose of corporate governance is to facilitate entrepreneurial and prudent management that can deliver the long-term success of the company, which by extension can also serve as a springboard for national renaissance. The theme is interesting because it suggests unequivocally that there is a connection between governance and economic development and sustainability, and that the only missing link is to find the right governance framework. It is this missing link that all our resource persons and of course our informed participants will seek to find by brainstorming for the next few hours.
Expressing concern on the Finance Bill 2021, the Icsan President Bode Ayeku noted that Section 39 of the bill, which stated that all unclaimed dividend of more than 12 years shall lapse into government revenue and shall be transferred from the trust fund to the Federation account as Federation revenue, was an infringement of the constitutional right to properties of the stakeholders.
Very simple. There is a lot of problem relating to unclaimed dividend. What we want the government to do is to focus on how to address the problem that is creating the challenge we are having with unclaimed dividend as at now. And the first thing is that the probate system in the country is so complex and is what is causing the delay in shareholders accessing the unclaimed dividend. We want the government to focus their attention on how to address the problem of unclaimed dividend instead of how to get the money being warehoused by unclaimed dividend. Apart from that, the process of processing unclaimed dividend also is so complex. You go to the registrars. If you have unclaimed dividend in 5 companies, you have to fill 5 different forms. That is so complex. We want a situation whereby when a shareholder fills a form, that particular form can be used to assess all the unclaimed dividend in all the companies where these particular unclaimed dividends are. If these 2 steps are taken, the substantially not less than 70% of unclaimed dividend will be claimed, and if that is done continuously, people will be able to claim their dividend and we won't have unclaimed dividend. Now government has no business taking over the unclaimed dividend, because it's a private fund. It's a fund that belongs to the shareholders. It's a fund that belongs to the government, not to not to the government. It belongs to the companies that declare the dividend and not the government. Why is the government trying to take over this dividend? Taking over the dividend in the sense that, and they are now saying that the dividend will now become the revenue of the government. That is against the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Section 44 says that every individual has a right to property. Dividend is a property of the shareholder. So it is wrong for the government now to expropriate the property of individual. What the government should do is to assist individuals to get what belongs to them. Government should be giving palliative to people and not people now giving palliative to government, which is the intention of section 39 of the bill, and that is why we are opposed to it. We are saying that government should focus on how to reduce unclaimed dividend and not how to expropriate unclaimed dividend.
Speaking on the theme, entrenching the right governance framework for economic development and sustainability, the guest speaker, Olatunji Ope, who mentioned that Nigeria is not yet configured for economic development, said that the country needed quality leadership which is built on competency.
It's something that we need to start right now. I mean, it's something that we should have been emphasizing years back. But until we begin to see it as a collective problem, we won't address them. And there was a conversation I had with a friend the other day about how we see the challenges we have in the society and in politics. A lot of us who are so-called middle class, we fear that if we buck the system, things will go worse than it is right now. But the sad thing is that we all know that things are bad. But we are afraid that if we take some actions which does not work out, then we'll lose our current status. The question for me is, if you continue this way, will you ever live the kind of life that you desire for yourself? Because if we keep thinking about, if I do this thing, it's going to be a problem. Or if we do this thing and it doesn't work, it's going to be a problem. The question is, why don't you just start anyway and see where it leads? Because the point at which you take that decision, there's a goal behind it. And the goal is to see that things turn out. A CEO of an organization comes up with a strategy not because he wants a strategy for the fun of it, or maybe it's in his job description, but because he wants to ensure that the organization prospers. He wants to ensure that the organization becomes a national brand, and from there, a global brand. So everything that he does is deliberate towards actualizing that strategy. So as individuals, as organizations, we need to start thinking along those lines. That if within the organization we think this way, why can't we demand that outside of our organizations, in other organizations, within the society, within the market association, within politics, within the artisans association, we start to think along those lines. Until we get to that point, we'll just be the way we are.
On his part, the chairman organizing committee, and the Vice President of the Institute, Taiwo Owolakade, said the body of governance professionals has put in place a monitoring mechanism that will continuously assess the level of compliance on the recommendations of stakeholders at the conference.
Our environment is a growing environment, and corporate governance is still at a very infancy stage. And that's what an institute like us try to bring this issue to the fore. Because for the system to work well, we need to ensure that the structures, the corporate governance structures are embedded in the system, that once people get to know it, they embed it in the running of the system, and then they try to implement it towards generating positive progresses for the system. So we know that for Nigeria, it's still an ongoing thing. But even for developed climes, corporate governance is a journey. It's not really a destination. So for us also, it's not that we are still at a very infancy stage, but we are making sure that at every opportunity that we have like this, that will bring us key stakeholders into place towards understanding what those issues are, and then trying to see how far we take ourselves to the level that we basically need to be. Because corporate governance is a dynamic thing, and it's also not really a local thing, in the sense that there are best practices that you cut across every economy. So those are issues that we try to bring to fore, and then try to see how far we go. So for Nigeria, well, we have not done too badly, but there's still a lot of room for improvement.
3 papers were presented at this year's conference. They are the new normal, emerging trend in corporate governance and its implications on business continuity, digitalization and cybersecurity, impact on business, and the revised Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020, opportunities for company secretaries.
I thank the officers and organizers of this event for inviting me to be chairman of the Luncheon Awards. I must thank in particular your energetic registrar / CEO, Mrs. Taiwo Ganiat, who persuaded me to put other engagements aside to be able to attend this important event. As we all know, Icsan is a leading recognized professional body in Nigeria, dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. Icsan is the only professional body authorized in Nigeria to conduct the examinations leading to the qualification of chartered secretaries and administrators, as Mr. President Odinson aptly put across to us a few minutes ago. These are some of the things that you, in your strategic position, in planning for the future, you can bear in mind. I want to congratulate the organization and for the work you have been doing.
Digitization comes with a lot of benefits, but just as we have benefits, the threats as well. Before somebody can take your money, they have to physically rob you of the money, which means you must be in possession of cash. But nowadays, you rarely have need to be in possession of cash. So it's very difficult for anybody now to steal substantial amount of cash away from you. But just as you don't have to go about with cash, there's a medium that allows you to transact commercial and financial operations without handling cash. That same channel that makes it possible for you also makes you vulnerable to cyber attacks. And just as you have access to online facility, criminals too have access to some of these things, and that puts you at risk, just as you enjoy the advantages of digitization. So what we're going to be looking at today is to analyze how all of these things now cohabit in the same space, and why we need to be on our guard to minimize the risk of vulnerability.
On the second day of the Icsan 44th Annual Conference, the main bowl of Muson Hall on Lagos Island played host to creme de la creme in the Nigerian business cycle.
Our honorees of today, Dr. Christopher Kolade, joining us online, and Mr. Oscar Onyema, OON, who is physically with us, with utmost pleasure that I welcome you to our event for the conferment of fellowship of our institute on some of our distinguished members. Honorary fellowship on two well-respected Nigerians, Distinguished Charter Secretary and Administrators Award, and awards for excellence in corporate governance, individual and corporate categories. As with most professional bodies established by Acts of Parliament, like Icsan, throughout the globe, the cadre of fellowship represents the zenith of professional membership. It is the highest cadre to which all professionals aspire in their fields. The conferment of fellowship today is an epoch-making one, being the first time we are holding a separate event for the fellows of the Institute in contradistinction to our hitherto practice of having both the induction of graduates and associates with the conferment of fellowship in one event.
The high point of the 44th Annual Conference of Icsan was the presentation of Honorary Fellowship Award on two distinguished Nigerians of former Nigerian envoys to United Kingdom, Christopher Kolade, and the Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Stock Exchange, Oscar Onyema. There were presentations of various categories of awards and induction of distinguished fellows.
Of the Institute of Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, we hereby present this Fellowship Award to Dr. Christopher Kolade, CON. The Governance Council of the Institute of Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria to present this award to Mr. Oscar Onyema. So, on behalf of the Institute of Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, it is my pleasure and honor to present this award to Mr. Nono Awo. I hope he will join the Institute very soon so that I can add ACIs. The award for excellence in corporate governance, individual category. To present this award to Professor Deji Olariwaju, ACIS. Have a new normal awardee of this particular award in person of Mrs. Olayinka Esther Odumax Kinde, ACIS, and I have the honor to present the award to her.
Please, let's all rise as we welcome the fellows to be inducted, being led by the President and Chairman of Government.